And then the district financial report, as always, is an exciting time. We are having a very productive beginning of the school year, even though we are obviously having some tragic events. I know we're doing great things in our schools. Thank you to our teachers and our support staff and everybody that works so hard every day. I just want to encourage us to continue to be safe, respectful, and responsible as we continue to move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Secret. Item 3.04, Board Communications Board Update.
We don't have any board communications, but we do have board updates.
We do. I'm going to speak for a minute here about Dr. Towers. On behalf of the board, I just want to say thank you for all of your many years of service. I reached out to Donna to ask about where she's been in our district, and so Donna started teaching at Knoll Elementary. She taught 2nd and 5th grades from 1967 to 1986. She then moved to Jefferson and taught science and language arts in the 6th grade level from 1986 to 1991. She became the assistant principal at Jefferson and served there from 1991 to 93, and then became the head principal at Jefferson from 1993 to 1998. And then she retired. She was elected to be a board member in 2004 and will be concluding that tonight. So all told, Donna has served, loved, and cared for our district for 51 years. So thank you to Donna for all of the many hours, all the energy and time and investment into our district. We as a board are extremely grateful. I personally am, just for you being a mentor and friend to me. So congratulations, Donna.
We're here also our SCSD United flag for this. Oh, you taking pictures? So we got a couple gifts in here for you. We also have flowers for you. You probably, that's gonna be heavy for you to carry. We also have, you can sit there. Just want to get a picture with everybody. So then we have a certificate that talks about your service. And then we also have, and I won't read it because I've already spent a lot of time, but we also have a proclamation for you tonight as well. Okay.
Thank you.
And then we have a card that we all sign. Not a towers, everybody. Yes.
Am I the one holding on the front?
Yes.
Well, if you want anybody else to be at, oh, yeah, down on our knees.
We have the twins next door. Come on.
Yeah.
Which one's Dr. Seaver? That's pretty good. Hold on. Donna, we love you. We're gonna miss you.
At this time, we're going to take just a few minute break if anybody wants to use the restroom and excuse Donna.
Take
from
a
her
picture.
responsibilities.
Oh, we're kicking around. Hey, listen, when we're done, we're done.
Yep. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Donna.
Sweet.
We've been kicked out.
Thank you.
You guys can take pictures of them if you want. Feel free to get
He was talking to me.
I was just told you guys didn't want to be in any pictures. Yeah, that's great.
This is a substitute.
Vicky, can you take a couple pictures?
I would love to.
We'll make sure Vicky gets the pictures too.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna sneak in.
Okay.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, Greg. Short and sweet.
Congratulations and thank you.
So it's good to see you.
Nice to meet you guys.
I was sitting right here. And Olivia was right there. And she kept coming back.
I'll bring it down a little. Good to see you too. So we should tell them. Oh, thanks guys, appreciate you.
If she just would, yeah. Sat down. I was like, oh my god. She came back here like 5 times, and there was one.
All right, everybody else is
She
staying?
did.
You can't get out, it's locked, it's
Where she
all
did.
done. That was a joke.
All the other times I was in the correct spot. She was like, "Should we work on it?" I'm like, okay. I got it.
Just close it. Close it out or close it?
Okay, we will resume our meeting and move on to item 3.05, audience comments.
All regular and special meetings of the board shall be open to the public. Since the board desires to be a good listener and be responsive to the community, persons desiring to address the board may do so during the time so allotted on the agenda and according to established procedures. During the audience portion of each board meeting, patrons are invited by the president to speak for or against any proposal on the tentative agenda or on any other school concern. The individual is asked to identify him or herself, limit comments to a few minutes, and avoid discussing personalities. The president reserves the right to limit the number of presentations and/or length of comments. At the discretion of the president, patrons may be recognized at other times during the board meeting. The board is very interested in audience comments. According to board policy, members cannot respond during the actual meeting. The board will listen to audience comments. If necessary, additional follow-up will occur through district administrators.
Thank you. We'll first hear from Teresa.
Okay, is it on? Can you hear?
Press the little.
Oh, there we go, okay. Okay. My name is Teresa Linsnick. I'm mom of a St. Charles High graduate and substitute para and playground monitor at various schools in our district. I'd like to remember the 2 secretaries in our district that passed away in the last 2 weeks. Secretaries are like moms. They gather all the loose strings and make something beautiful. They tend to the many, many emails, phone calls, and attend to any other thing that their boss asks them to do. They tend to parents, students, and other employees and hold the school and the district together. They are the fast little legs that make the swans glide. These 2 secretaries will be missed by many. In times like these, many of us turn to prayer. I'd like to offer a prayer and invite anyone who'd like to join me in one. Father God, in times like these, I believe we are much better off if we trust in you. Jesus, you said that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but you came to give us life, and that more abundantly. I believe these 2 ladies trusted in you and therefore had very abundant lives. May we emulate their enthusiasm for life, enthusiasm for you, and enthusiasm for people. We pray for their families and friends. Be with them. Give them your grace that makes things easier, and please give them your peace that passes all understanding to guard their hearts and minds in Christ. Give their families wisdom on how to manage things without their mom or wife or relative. We pray for our school district community. that in the absence of these two beautiful women, that you would give their coworkers your peace, your wisdom, your power to fill in the gap that they left behind. Give us the power as a district to seek truth and to speak truth and help the little children and adolescents entrusted to us, because we know that only in truth that we are set free. Help us to do right by these children. Give these children confidence to be unique persons that you created them to be, and help them succeed with their special talents and abilities that you have blessed them with. I say this in my Lord Jesus' name, amen. And I'm reminded of the saying in the movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Every life touches so many, and they sure did. And in times like these, we need to remember our national motto, In God We Trust. Thanks.
Brendan?
Good evening, board members, members of Central Office and St. Charles community. My name is Brendan Kearns. I'm the president of the St. Charles Education Association, the exclusive bargaining organization for certified employees and nurses here in the district. I'd like to begin by extending our sympathies to everybody affected by our two recent deaths. I get to hear, luckily from members, several stories about both people and how their lives were touched by their passings. Also, I didn't find out till I was getting here about Dr. Towers tonight, but I did want to extend, on behalf of our organization, thanks for all of her hard work in her 51 years in this district. I get to attend a lot of events in this district, and I cannot think of one ever that Dr. Towers missed, whether it was our Care to Learn galas, our kickoffs, our PD days. Everyone, I would see her out, engaged, dynamic. We are really going to miss her here, and it's going to be very different for me. This will be the first time I've ever been on the board without Dr. Towers. So we're going to miss her, and I wish her the best in all of what's coming next. As far as what we have going on in the organization, we have parent-teacher conferences coming up soon. Our members are eager to talk to and engage with parents and all caregivers about the progress their students are making. Also, we're going to have our professional development day coming up here in early November, and a lot of our members and teachers are going to be presenting at that, putting in extra hard work to improve the skills of teachers within our own district. I also want to extend my thanks to members of Central Office working with us through wisdom implementation. It's a lot, but we appreciate the conversations and working with you guys to make sure that this can run as smoothly and efficiently as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Item 3.06, is there a motion to amend or adopt the agenda as presented?
I will adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item 4.01, approval of consent agenda. For efficiency, the school board utilizes a consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda are routine in nature or are among the many decisions that the board has already determined are in the domain of the administration. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move down to item 6.01, policy changes. This is our second reading for two policies. Any discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve policies J01 and FFA as presented?
I move we present the policies as presented.
Is there a second?
Aye. My second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we will move to item 7.01, school safety program review.
That is me. If we can get to that. Oh, sorry. Thank you. This looks like a really fancy presentation. It is not, but I think it's important to make sure that we go through the main things you all know, the things that we do safety and security wise in our district. Obviously, we have gotten off the school year, unfortunately, with a lot of threatening language, a lot of not any direct threats in our district, but a lot of rumors and a lot of unsettledness throughout, obviously, our region and also the country. So it's really important for us to just go through this and just remind people of the things that we're doing to make sure that we're keeping our kids safe. Jeremy's gonna help me with this as well. What I did first, you can go to the next one. I just wanna make sure that the next couple of slides just highlight where safety and security lie in our, and you all are helping us with our rewrite of our CSIP right now, but where we are right now with our mission, value, mission and vision and value and goals at this point. So you're gonna see obviously empower all, reach, teach, empower all students in a safe, diverse, and innovative learning environment. You can go to the next one. Vision, obviously, I just wanna make sure everybody knows exactly what we're trying to accomplish with our vision. Next slide, please. And then we're gonna get into the values, and I'm just gonna highlight real quick, I'm gonna read all to them, but you can go to the next one. You're gonna see, I just highlighted everything that we value as a district right now, and obviously we're rewriting our values right now, but you can see there's quite a few that talk about either safety, security, well-being of our kids and staff. Do you want, you can just add into anything you wanna add into. See,
No,
you can jump in as
No,
well.
I think that's perfect. Whenever we're meeting with a group of community members or staff members, even students for that matter, the value that's paramount is safety and security. So that comes across very quickly in every meeting that we have. So it's certainly a top value for us before any of the other values if we had to go through and put a numbering system to it.
So our goals, you can hit the next two. So the goals, obviously, student performance as trauma-informed schools and social emotional needs that we've been working on. Our big rocks are student needs, which it has an umbrella for just everything our kids need, as well as our RTAC process. The next slide, please. Again, highlighting the safety pieces, engage all families, building intentional partnerships with community. Because one of the biggest things we can do as a school district is make sure people are connected. When you see a lot of issues or you see problems where people will act out, a lot of times is they're not connected with the community. So we're really working on making sure that we're connected. Next slide, please. And then again, highly qualified staff. We have instructional and mental health supports. And again, we're not just talking about brick and mortar things. We'll get to those in just a second. But the things that we're doing again for our staff and our students on a regular basis. And then the building level steps and items, you've seen these before. The good news is kind of a little bit of a balance. We've added some things, but we also are getting really good at what we can do. So a couple of things at the building level they're doing, so through their leadership team or a safety committee, kind of depends on what they want to do with their building. But they obviously update and revise their crisis plans yearly. We have a visitor badge system called Raptor. There's another slide we can talk about that in a second, but that's a great system for us when visitors come to the buildings. Key system for subs, that was a big deal 4 or 5 years ago of making sure subs had the right keys, especially if there was an emergency that happens. Classroom doors are locked. Safe Defend, our system that we'll talk about in a second, Jesse, and also our local police department have recommended reinforced for years now that we want to make sure our doors are locked. This is a challenge at times. Our teachers have really done a nice job with it. I'll tell you, when I'm in the buildings, it's harder to get in classrooms because you're trying to open unlock the door, but that's a best practice. And then review safety regulations, best practices before any training. We'll talk about that in a second as well. And take a look at access to the buildings, what that looks like, and also facilitate all safety emergency drills on a regular basis. You want to add anything to that, Jeremy?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay. And then Raptor, we're going to talk, the next slide, please. Oh, no, I'm sorry, go back up, you're right, I missed one. So this is important. So the district administration monitoring, things that we're doing, or, you know what, you've done a lot of this, I'm gonna let you take this slide.
Appreciate it.
Because you've done a lot of this work, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been over the course of probably 10 years that administration has put efforts in towards that, including the school board. So, yeah, we have double entries at every single school building at this point in time, meaning there's a foyer before you get into the building. Added protective film over the glass, mainly around school entrances, but we did go beyond that a few times. That did not come out of any of our normal revenue. That was a safety grant that we went for through the state of Missouri. Our plan was approved. and they gave us $250,000 towards that project. I will say that other school districts are now attempting to do that with their operating funds. And we would like to continue that through some various other avenues in the future. Safety fin system is in every single school building. We have a few areas that we're still getting that implemented in, but they are very, very small. I don't want to go into detail where those are at, but we certainly understand that. We recognize where those need to be. And that's a great system. That's an automatic system to provide advance notice to our emergency personnel. And that's crucial for response time, which we know most of if we're talking about active shooter, if we're talking about intruder, we're talking with the span of minutes. And we have witnessed our emergency personnel in action for various reasons, many times out of a false alarm, so to speak, or a phone call that's being made, and their response time is absolutely amazing in those situations. So, Go Guardian tip lines, courage to report, that's ran through the state, but we do get those from time to time from state officials. The Missouri State Highway Patrol monitors that and sends out those alerts to us. We have to provide a response back to that on what we are doing as administration to each one of those reports, and that is documented by the Highway Patrol.
And that's where, Karen, we've talked about this before with the board about what are we doing to prevent, or if we see something, what are we doing to help kids? So I feel like Go Guardian, we did have it in School Messenger before we went to Kinvo, and so there's another tip line we can get back, but we use Go Guardian tip line. So Go Guardian will, when a kiddo is typing something in that probably raises a red flag, we get that immediately. And actually, I was in a building the other day, and the principal says, "Go with me. We got one that we're gonna go talk to." So I went with them. So we're doing a lot of proactive things, not just waiting. Obviously, you can fortify all you want, but if you're not proactively making sure kids are okay, staff's okay, checking in with people, and making sure that you're looking at the whole child, you're not gonna, you can fortify all you want. So I wanna make sure I added that.
I loved what you showed me about windows too, how they can't be pushed in, but they can be pushed out from the inside.
Right.
And some of the,
So then, again, trauma-informed social economic challenges and teacher-student relationships, PD, continue to address bullying, mental health issues, consistency and balancing discipline, and meeting students' needs. That's a big deal for me as a superintendent. Obviously, we're going to have consequences, obviously, we have a code of conduct, but then also, what are those restorative practices look like? PBIS is a big piece in all of our buildings now, to have that balance, make sure that we always are going back to the relationship with the kids. Continue strong communication. Obviously, we came up a couple years ago when we had our swatting call a couple years ago that was just absolutely horrible. We felt like we needed to get clear on some emergency directives, so we have those now. And then consistency throughout the district with safety drills and crisis plans. And then safety and security can be cleaning and sanitizing protocols as well. And that's something that we're working on. You want to add to that? Because that's always a challenge as well.
I think the biggest challenge with that right now is just the labor market and attempting to train new employees in a regular fashion, so we know that our cleaning and sanitizing protocols are followed every night for our students and our staff. That's probably the biggest challenge. We have them in place, but there is a significant challenge with that.
You want to cover the last two?
Yeah, cybersecurity, that's what we kind of talked about with the Go Guardian piece, but also we have to follow insurance guidelines for cybersecurity. And we have to show proof that we are following those guidelines, or else we do not get insurance. It's almost like owning a coastal property at this point in time. We have to show that we are doing what we need to do in order to get and to be insured. Now, there is a lot of talk in the insurance market that they will probably get out of this at some point in time, but right now it is something that we do have to show proof of. The last thing, clear numbering system. If you look through any one of our buildings, every one of our buildings are numbered for emergency response. Our emergency personnel do have maps of every one of our facilities, so they know when there is a safe defendant box that goes out, and it shows them what classroom that was initiating that call. They know exactly how to respond and where to respond to.
We've been very proactive too, and Jeremy's done a great job of if there's a little pot of money here from the state or from here that say, hey, you could add some things, we go for it. we get it, and usually we'll get some sum of money that we can use to just continue to fortify what we're doing. So this is the rapid visitor management system. I don't have to read that to you, but it kind of gives you a good summary of what Raptor does. And I just feel like that's another peace of mind as visitors are coming into our building. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, that's perfect.
And then the next one is our Safe Defend. We've obviously had that for a number of years. Actually, this board approved the first system of Safe Defend in my very first board meeting 7 years ago. And I know it's not foolproof. I know that none of this is keeping us 100% safe, but I love the fact that we have a system like this in place. So, and again, Jeremy already said, the biggest thing with Safe Defend is the response time gets cut down to the point where we can get in there and get done what we need to do to hopefully keep from having a major issue. And then 4E training, again, I'm not gonna read all that to you, but we the last couple of years, we made it kind of a volunteer thing for people who can go to it. This year, we offered it to everybody, so all of our teachers have had 4E training. You guys have seen some of the emails, and I let you know, it's quite the training, and it can cause people to feel a little uneasy at times because it's the real thing in terms of training for some type of active shooter training, and we feel like it's necessary. A lot of districts in the St. Louis County area do it as well, and so all of our staff now are trained in this training. So do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's probably one of the hardest parts for us is trying to make a determination on what training, how the training can look, when's the most appropriate time, because in every situation, we understand that teachers, staff members, students that are trained is incredibly beneficial in these situations. It's not only beneficial for themselves and their own safety, but it's incredibly beneficial for our emergency personnel that are responding to the call. So we have, is it 5 or 6 officers that help us with this training each year. It's independent of us as a school district, but certainly there's a dependency on our emergency team to provide it. So we know that we don't want to institutionalize any school. That's a fear. We don't want to give that feeling. And we certainly don't want children to believe that either. But we understand the importance of training.
So speaking of the children, there's a piece too with all students, the parents can opt out if they don't want them to go to the training. It's more of a classroom setting, so a lot of times they'll do, like last year they did an assemblies and stuff, and it's about a 30 to 45 minute program. And they go through a lot of the things in terms of trying to equip kids with some skills, but they don't go through all the things that the adults go through, and we're gonna set that up again this year. Next slide. And then our SROs, we have 5 of them. We have 3 full-time SROs, well, 2 at the high school, 1 at Hardin Middle School, and then we have 2 one's right here. Wendy! Come on, Wendy! And Wendy and Mike go to all of our elementary schools, and they teach the START program. And I'm telling you, I'm thankful for them every day, because we're talking to them on a regular basis of threat analysis to helping us. And again, we have a really strong MOU with them. They know their roles, we know our roles, but we really work well together. And I just give a shout out to Chief Jenks and the city. This is not a political statement, I can just tell you this for sure. I'm very, very pleased with the response and also the communication and the partnership we truly have with our police department. And we work really well with our police department, that's awesome. Then rekeying of all SCSD buildings, I'll let you take on that, because that's quite the project.
Yeah, it's been a 3-year project at this point, so every single core, door handle core has been rekeyed, and 65% of our doors at this point in time, and we still have that other 45 to go. But it's lengthy. We have one person that does it, one person that does all the work, and I meant 35, didn't I? Yeah. We have one person that does all the work, and they're doing an excellent job. They're doing an excellent job, but it's a lengthy process. The reason for that is, and it was board approved 4 years ago potentially, but we did not have a good record keeping of the keys at that time, and now we do. Now we do.
And I think we've talked about that a little bit too when we first initiated it. We kind of tweaked it a little bit to have a balance too. Again, the institutionalized piece. There are teachers that do need to have keys, so we've kind of balanced some of that, because at first it's kind of like this hardcore, like nobody's gonna get keys, like, I couldn't even get a key, I'm like, I think I should have a key. So we kind of tweaked some of that as well, so. And again, I want to shout out to Jeremy, because his operational staff has just done a fantastic job of really making sure that our school environments are as safe as possible. And this is just a reminder of right now, obviously, we're looking at our CSIP plan, coming up for the next 3 to 5 years, but I just want to make sure that we connect it all. It's not like, oh, here's safety and security sits over here. It all flows together, and again, we have 2 big rocks that come out of our CSIP, and we're talking about RTI and student needs, and you can see the student needs piece, that's exactly what we're talking about. PBIS, safety and security, trauma informed, the things that we're doing to work with kids and our staff on a regular basis, to make sure that we're connected and we're also safe. So that's our presentation.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right. Is there a motion to approve the school safety program review as presented?
Thank you, Jeremy.
I move to approve the school safety program review as presented.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we will move on to new business. Item 8.01, policy changes. This is our first reading of many policy changes. We won't be making a motion on this one, but is there any discussion, questions?
We apologize, there's so many, but it is.
Send them in a big batch. Anybody have any questions? Okay. All right, we will have a second reading of those next month. Item 8.02 is the notice of the annual school election. That'll be happening in April 8th of 2025. Is there a motion to approve the notice of the annual school election as presented?
I make a motion that we accept the, what is it called? Board. Annual school election. Thank you.
Is there a second? I second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item 8.03, the 2025 insurance recommendations.
Right. Just click on the first report, I'm kind of going to go through that pretty quickly for us. It's kind of a dull year for, it's a great year, but also a potentially dull year in that we don't have any major changes occurring in our medical. The nice thing is this will be the first year in 3 years where the employees' costs are staying the same. The district will absorb a bit of an increase on that, and that was to try to get some of our actuary percentages from the base pay to the employee spouse, employee family, employee children to be what the norm is for the nation. So we will take a bit of an increase on that from the district side. The nice thing about that though is right now we can absorb that increase because we're operating at a 91% rate for our current insurance plan. As you guys know, that can change in a quarter pretty quickly, but we're feeling pretty good about where we're landing right now, and that's after 2 years of increases that's helped us get below that 100% mark. So what I'm recommending is our medical third-party administrator stays with United Healthcare UMR. They are the ones that basically, they cover all of our claims, all of our administrative duties and our organizational duties, operational duties for our medical. Dental, vision, life, and voluntary, which is employee decided. All of that stays the same. That will be a big year next year. All of those come up for bid. So that will be another big year for us. Still have the Bridge Healthcare Center that's operated and managed by Premise with oversight by our CBIZ, that's our insurance broker. That's still receiving really good remarks as far as the surveys that are completed when employees leave. We do share that facility with the city government. So any city employee also has the ability to go to the Bridge Healthcare Center. And we're splitting costs with that. The facilities costs are split, but the other costs are then determined by the usage between the city and the district. The biggest change that we're probably having out of all of this is we're switching from Optum to Caremark CVS. We have pharmacy analytic employees through CBIZ that look at all of our claims data. They look at all of our script data that is noteworthy for cost. And they made a determination through the Employers Health Coalition, which Optum and Caremark are both a part of, that Caremark at this point in time is offering a better rate of return on script than what Optum can provide. The biggest change that our employers will feel about that is one, we have to get a new insurance card, which we've been promised that will happen in December. So that was a big question mark for us. The other piece of that is every year the tiers, so what scripts follow under 3 different tiers changes. And that's because some of our branded scripts change to generic, and then there's new branded prescriptions that come out. So that changes all the tier designs through our script managers. So I will try to explain that to our employees and to our staff when I go and do my annual visits. But that could be a potential alarm when a few people receive letters that says, well, you may need to try this script before this script is now approved. But that is an annual thing. That's not a Caremark versus Optum thing. But I know how that could be a little bit worrisome for our employees. So again, 91% HSA contributions, though I will say this, we've had those as post-tax. We are one of the only people that are known to have HSA as post-tax. We found this out last year, that we are an anomaly in the insurance market, so we will be changing that to a pre-tax, which will be communicated to all the employees. All that means is the employee has to do less when they're filing their taxes. That's all that means. We are getting back from UMR telehealth as an option for their from their providers. That was a COVID. For 3 years, that was allowed for free for COVID. UMR is allowing that back in for no cost to the district because we did hear from some of our employees that was a much needed. We had it through the bridge. But we lost it with UMR and with that COVID protection. So that's going to be a nice offering. And then we're adding a one-pass wellness program. And that's not anything it's all an employee decision. So it's just a program for wellness that they could choose to become a part of and pay a monthly fee to do that. So those are probably the biggest aspects of the insurance recommendation. But again, the insurance fund is operating well. We're able to absorb some of the costs. The employees have no increase. UMR and everything else will stay the same.
And that's huge.
And that was
We're
really
in a
nice.
lot better shape
Yeah.
than we have.
No one likes to go to visit buildings and say, hey, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You're going to have more money taken out of your paycheck. That's a terrible
We've
feeling.
been talking about insurance now for a couple months. I'm like, man, that's huge because we've been in a tough. It's been a tough go for a couple of years.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve the 2025 insurance recommendations as presented?
I move to approve the 2025 insurance recommendations as presented.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We'll move on to item 9.01, the district financial report.
Thank you. Mr. Hewitt, I appreciate it. Appreciate the enthusiasm. Very quickly, our trend for our salaries and benefits is still showing the same in September as it did in August. If you remember me highlighting that last month, that's something that we want to look at once these salary and benefits start going for the school fiscal year, and that is showing what we expected. So that is good news that there's no miscalculation with salaries and benefits because that is about 80% of our entire budget is fed through that area. Our purchase services and supplies are online from what spending was in the previous year. The one thing I wanted to highlight is under the bond or the debt service. If we had that clicked up, if you guys were able to click on it. Under the debt service, we do a September 1 payment, we do a March 1 payment for our debt service. That's for that 75 cents that taxpayers pay each year. And September 1 payment was 1.2 million. That March 1st payment will be about 6-something million. So you see that in this financial report. That 1.2 was spent out this previous month. Outside of that, With our negotiated agreement, we are monitoring overtime and extra hours, just making sure that we are being fiscally responsible there. We're showing some nice adjustments in that to about $70,000 in savings at this point this year. So hopefully that maintains at least that, but we hope that continues to be a benefit for our employees when the next negotiating session begins again. So through that, we have some adjustments in here. You see the last one's the board adjustments from October 24. We put that in there this year, and we want to continue to do that. When our tax rate changes, so you remember in July 1, we had, it's okay, it's not. We had a tax rate, assessed valuation that was about $8 million lower than what it was come July 31st. So we were able to take that new tax rate and the new assessed valuation and say, okay, we have additional local revenue that we should expect come December. So we've been making some adjustments on that. Where you're going to see that spent out in is various projects that we have planned for, the demographer service being one, curtains at St. Charles High School because they're about 30 years old and have holes in them when you close them, so they're not very functional. We have two AED devices that we're purchasing for traveling that was brought up by our athletic directors, and some other options that are presented out in there as well. Beyond that, we have pulled 2 cents away from our capital, which was approved in September, to our general fund. The reason for that switch, and you'll probably see that going down at 15 cents going down again next year, is the state changed it on us in May, this previous May, from a capital expense of being any single item of $1,000 to now any single item that's $5,000. Well, that's pretty difficult for us to do unless we're spending it out of technology or spending it out of facilities and maintenance. So we've restricted some of that money and repurposed it back into the general, into the operating accounts. And that's what you're going to see through all of these adjustments. There are a few adjustments for grants for career education, and then for state grants for digital preservation of some of these some of our archive materials. And that should be about it.
Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
I move we approve the financial report.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Quick shout out to our Lindenwood students for coming in tonight.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming.
If you're thinking about teaching or want to be a parent or work at all, come see Dr. Lewis. We'll put you to work. Ray's already working for us, so we love come have a conversation with us. I'm serious, like we'll hire you now. And they're my best friend and their teacher.